Hey Queens, and welcome back to Captivation Radio, the podcast where we explore how we can improve our lives through self discovery and spiritual growth. Today, I want to talk to you about using your discernment when practicing witchcraft, or whatever you want to call it, magic, and spirituality in general. In today's age of abundant information and never-ending social media content, the areas of witchcraft and spirituality have become incredibly popular. From ancient traditions to modern interpretations, individuals are bombarded with just an abundance of perspectives. And this makes it challenging to discern what resonates with your own spiritual journey. So it's more important than ever that you learn how to use your own discernment to help you sift through all the noise, find what's most authentic and most aligned with your values and your own personal intentions. So, what is a discernment? Discernment is not merely distinguishing between right and wrong or true and false. It's something that goes much deeper than a surface level judgment. It asks you to determine what is truly authentic for you. What resonates with your own beliefs? At its core, discernment is the process of inner knowing. It's using your intuition to determine what is for you and what is not for you. Spiritual beliefs are highly personal and are never a one-size-fits-all thing, despite what a lot of practices and religions try to teach. It's really something you can customize, I believe in this from this and this from this, and you put that all together because you are an individual person and you are free to believe whatever it is that you want. So let's start with talking about kind of the pitfalls of social media influence to start, and just the whole social media aspect of spirituality and magic. So social media, in my mind, has been a blessing and a curse for the spiritual and magic community, because if you're on a path where you're trying to gain spiritual knowledge, there's just so much information, which when we have a ton of information, it's generally good and bad, because now you have to try to figure out what is good, what is bad. While social media is offering an unprecedented access to diverse perspectives and communities, it's also a breeding ground for misinformation, superficiality, and spiritual bypassing. The allure of likes, follows, and shares can lead individuals astray, tempting them to adopt beliefs and practices because they're trendy and not because it is authentic for them, something they really believe or something they really care about. And then there's other people this is something that we are passionate about, always have been, before it was cute and before it was trendy, and now we have to try to find a balance between those different things. And how do you know who is who and what is what? So when witchcraft first started gaining popularity on social media, I was really happy about it, because I was like, this is awesome. People are gonna learn more, be more involved, be more open-minded. The community can grow and connect in ways that we haven't before. Because when I started practicing, there was not a lot of resources available, because it just wasn't a popular thing. It was definitely a thing and those are the goth kids. The goth kids do their little weird magic stuff. We were at the haunted house talking to ghosts, and our friends were still going to church on Sunday morning, so it was a huge disconnect. It was a strange time. It's not the time that it is now. And people didn't take things so seriously, like tarot. I never imagined that there would be a time that I would just be on social, you want a card? People would tell me I was the devil. And people would come over to my house when I first had my own apartment and be like, oh my God, you have tarot cards. You're evil. That's the work of the devil. Why do you have this? But now people like, oh, can you pull a card for me? Can you do a reading for me? And it's just commonplace. So I appreciate the acceptance. It's very nice to have that, like, you can talk about it openly. Some people still think you're the devil. Some people still think I'm the devil. I don't really care, though. I never really cared, but it's just different now. As the trend of spirituality and magic became more popular, though, I realized that a lot of people sharing their ideas were only doing so, solely doing so, because it was the trendy thing to do. The new aesthetic was being a witch. Like, oh, I'm a witch now. I practice astrology and I know tarot and I do this and I do that, without ever taking the time to learn about any of these things. And I mean, like, they didn't read any books, they've never practiced, but they're going to tell you how to practice. Like, how does that work? A lot of people are simply regurgitating ideas, and they had no idea what they were telling people, or what they were telling people to do, what they shouldn't be telling people to do in some cases, and just like the amount of fear that gets spread around certain things and the connotations around things. And if these people are very popular and they start saying these things, all of a sudden everybody believes it, even though it's probably not true. And so a lot of seasoned practitioners, we're all just like, oh, that's cute, and we just scroll past and move on with our lives. But then what I noticed was happening was people in my circle that were new to the spiritual community, new to practicing magic, they would start sending me these things that were clearly false from my beliefs, false teachings. And I would just be like, wow. And in some cases, I would be like, well, I don't personally believe that. This is what I personally believe. And sometimes people agree with me. And sometimes they would be like, but so-and-so said it, so it has to be true. I'm like, okay. Once again, your practice, your choice on what you want to believe. But the thing is that new people soaking up loads of like conflicting information is very confusing for them. And then they're sharing it. And then we just have a whole bunch of confused people just spreading chaos around. And I noticed that a lot with the like eclipse that was yesterday. Well, you guys are going to hear this on Wednesday. So the eclipse that was on Monday, just all of the different, you can't do this, you must do this, and downplaying what other people's beliefs were, like, this isn't going to happen, blah, blah, blah. What we don't do is put down other people's beliefs. You don't have to agree with it, but we don't put down other people's beliefs. That used to be one of the first big rules in the spiritual community. Like, you're free to believe what you want to believe. You don't have to believe what I believe, because it's your practice, and I don't care how you practice. It doesn't hurt me either way. And also just telling people, like, some people saying, oh, it's the new moon, it's the eclipse, you should manifest, you should be making your moon water, you should be doing this. And other people like, whatever you do, don't manifest, you're going to manifest chaos in your life, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. If you sit down and you think, ask the universe, ask your guides, ask whoever it is that you communicate with, is this a good time for me personally to manifest? Is this the time I should be releasing? Listen for an answer. Ask for a sign of what the answer is in whichever way that you personally ask for signs. You can, I like to use a pendulum if I'm not really sure. Otherwise, you can pull a card. You can ask to see a number. You can do whatever you need to do. But again, you have to do what is right for you. I personally believe that there is people that it was a great time for them to manifest, and other people, like myself personally, there's things I needed to just let it go. It was a great time for that too. And no matter what you believe in, it's an intense energy. So you can do with it what you believe is the best thing to do. Again, practicing discernment. So how do you cultivate this discernment that I keep talking about? And the first step is self-reflection. Begin by turning inward, exploring your own values, your own beliefs, your own intentions. What draws you to this path to begin with? Why are you following a path of spirituality? Why are you practicing witchcraft if that's what you do? What brought you here? What do you hope to achieve? What do you hope to experience? When you know what your motivation is, what your reasoning is for doing these things, this is when you create your solid foundation. You always need to know why. Why am I doing this? And that goes like as your practice gets deeper too, and you want to do different things like, oh, I want to do a spell or whatever. Why? Why do you want to do it? The why, your intention, is going to be the basis of everything that you do in your practice. So you really need to know why you are doing things. And the next thing is just critical thinking, which so many people seem to be fucking lacking these days. Just stop. Use a little logic, some critical thinking. It's not going to hurt you, I promise. Approach your information with a critical eye. Question the source. Question the source's credibility. Question the source's potential biases. Just because something is popular or it's been shared a whole bunch of times does not necessarily make it true or authentic. Research, cross-reference, and seek out diverse perspectives if you want a well-rounded understanding. Don't just find one person and copy what they're saying. If you see a video or something and you're like, that sounds a little off to me, figure out why. You already had that little knowing. Now look into it. Who is the source? Where do they get their information from? How long have they been practicing? Is this something that's like generational? Do they have firm beliefs going back? Is this something that they just started doing 3 weeks ago? Try to figure all that out. And then find other sources and see if they agree. And still, at the end of the day, even if you feel like everybody's credible and you still don't agree, you still don't have to agree, because that is using your discernment. Which brings me to the next one, your intuition. Always trust your inner guidance. Those little subtle whispers of intuition that speak to you in moments of silence, or sometimes, for me, it's not usually moments of silence. It's usually moments when everything around me is loud and chaotic, and I don't know why all of a sudden I'm hearing, you need to go do this, this, and this. Like, well, I'm in the middle of watching my kid play basketball for the day. Well, as soon as you leave, you need to do this. My intuition also doesn't whisper, it shouts at me, but it sounds cuter to say your intuition whispers to you. But mine is usually much meaner than that. It's usually like, bitch, this needs to be done. Or like, don't turn that way. Or don't do this. Or do this right now. So I don't know how your intuition talks to you. Feel free to let me know how your intuition talks to you, because I'm always like, God, this bitch in my head is very aggressive with me. So feel free to share how yours is. And pay attention to how your body, your mind, and your spirit respond to different beliefs and practices. Like I was saying before, when you hear something and you immediately get that little feeling, pay attention to that. Pay attention to what resonates with you deeply, and pay attention to what feels out of alignment. Like some things you might feel like, oh, this is what I should do. It makes sense. It might have even been practiced for hundreds and thousands of years, but it just doesn't feel like it aligns with your journey. That is okay. Your intuition is the most powerful thing about your spiritual journey. You always need to follow your intuition. And then seek out teachers and mentors who embody the characteristics of authenticity, integrity, and wisdom. Do not follow people just because they're popular and people are like, oh, I like her. Does she know what she's talking about? Does she have any integrity, or does she change her mind every 3 days? Like, really focus on what are these people like? Are they doing it for ego or to promote their own agenda? Are they doing it because they want to make money off of you, or are they just doing it? Because a true teacher is going to guide you every time back to yourself. They're going to encourage self-discovery, and they're going to encourage you to be a sovereign person. They do not want to control you or manipulate your ideas. That's how you know a good teacher from a bad teacher. And then just experiment and explore. The biggest thing about any kind of journey, and definitely with a spiritual journey, is embrace curiosity. Experiment as you explore with various beliefs and practices. Keep an open mind, but remain discerning. Observe how different modalities impact your energy, your mindset, your overall well-being, and trust that your own journey is unique and ever evolving. And allow yourself freedom to adapt and grow along the way. So I'll tell you, when I first started out as a kid. If you haven't listened to my story before, somebody had told me they didn't believe in God. I never knew that was an option until this point. And I was like, we have an option of what we believe in. This is interesting. Let me learn more. And then I decided I wanted to dive into Wicca because I believed Wicca was the only kind of witchcraft, I was a kid, remember? So I strictly followed Wicca for a few years. And then as I grew older, I was like, I don't really resonate with everything that they practice. So I have evolved over time. And then I learned more about like my ancestors and folk magic. And now I have all different kinds of things that I have combined together to create my own beliefs. And you can do the same thing. You don't have to follow one strict plan. You're free to change your mind along the way and say, hey, I don't believe in this right now. Like, it served me at one point, but it doesn't right now. And that's okay, because once again, it is your life and your practice. So you have to do with it what is best for you. When it comes to witchcraft, when it comes to spirituality, discernment is extremely important. This is what's going to lead you to a path of authenticity. This is what's going to lead you to a path of truth, to a path of empowerment. By really cultivating that self-reflection, critical thinking, following your intuition, and discerning where you get your guidance from, and then just experimenting along the way, this is how you are going to be able to navigate all of the diverse beliefs and practices with clarity and confidence. And just remember that your spiritual journey, once again, I'm going to keep telling you, it's yours alone. Nobody else's. So trust yourself, honor your truth, and embrace the wisdom that resides within you. All right, I love you all. Have a great week.